Hi guys, so in this video we'll talk about the VB arrays and loop, and I must tell you that this time this video will actually be very wonderful video, though I always try to create all the videos wonderful, but this time this is going to be awesome. Trust me, you'll just stay with me, watch this video throughout, and you'll see yourself that what exactly we have done. So let me quickly tell you, so this is the question which is asked by one of my subscribers, Vishwajit, and this is what he has written. I'll show you his question. So he has given me this kind of a sheet, shared, and said that I need to run a macro so that the dates where login time is greater than 9:30 will reflect in second sheet in the below format, right? Now he has asked me two questions in last week as well, but those questions were different, and if you don't know, then let me just show you this Excel file. If you have watched those videos on the index, then that's fine. You must be familiar with this sheet. Otherwise, this is exactly the data for people who haven't watched this video. You can go to my this playlist, and this I'll show you just in the YouTube, and you can watch these two videos. I have uploaded this under category of index. They're actually very good videos, and you can even check the same in my this website excelvbalover.com under the Excel video tutorial. So let me come back to the question. Now what he says is that we have the employee codes here, we have the names here, and this is their, I guess, the login detail for the entire February month, right? So what he wants to do is he wants to check that whosoever is coming late, whosoever is logging in late after 9:30, after this 9:30 which I have written here. So you can write whatever you want to write, and this will, the code will automatically start doing the comparison according to this time. So he asked me 9:30, so I have written here 9:30. So whosoever is coming late or maybe after this 9:30, right? I don't want to say it as a late, but whosoever is coming after 9:30, then that record should copy and paste with the date in this sheet, in this format. So here I can see the employee code, the employee name, and the date and the time when he actually came on that day, which is obviously going to be after this 9:30 a.m. in the morning, right? So we don't want any record wherein he the employee has come before 9:30 or maybe on 9:30 exactly. So whatever the records we want to display, it has to be after 9:30 a.m. because I have written here 9:30 a.m. and of course with all the information like what is the employee code, what is the name, and the date as well, right? So let me quickly run this code, and let me first show you because I have prepared this code, and indeed I really loved preparing this code because this actually not only involves the arrays but also the loop, and we have used almost like 3 loops in just one code. So this is going to be very exciting. Let me show you the code. So it took almost like I think 25-30 minutes for me to prepare this code because it involved a lot of basically logics, a lot of things, how to refer the cell, which cell is to be referred to which cell. Now let me just run this code. So I'm gonna click on this run. See this, right? This is amazing, right? So it has compiled all the data, and you can see here, so what you need to do is after this you just need to change this to time format, and your code is ready. Wonderful. Wow, right? So now I'm not saying wow because I have prepared this code, but it's actually it's a very good question. Actually, I really loved working on this. So thanks again, Vishwajit. Thank you so much for your third question, I guess in a week. So I really appreciate that. Many of people who are watching this, my subscribers, maybe who are not subscribers, I think they'll gain a lot of things today from the VBA. So see what is happening. Nitin record is filtered. We have dates called 9th of Feb, 13th, 18th, 20th, and 28th. So in all these dates, Nitin has come after 9:30, right? And similarly for the other values as well, for all the names. So how we actually are arrived at this is what we are going to start. So let me quickly start this. Before I take you on the code, I want to actually tell you what I initially thought. When you actually prepare a code, you always try to lay out, a kind of you put a picture in your mind, and then you see that what all things you can do, whether you can use the arrays, you can use the functions, you can use the loops, right? Or maybe you can use some normal codes like, cell referencing, offset codes, whatever I meant to say. So when I looked at this data, I saw one thing, that I have to compare this each cell with this 9:30 a.m. which I have written in this main sheet, right? So that means that I would be requiring a lot of variables to store these numbers, to store these values. So maybe I just deleted this for a moment and I concentrated on this Nitin only. So Nitin has almost like 28 dates. It could be 30 or 31st as well, 31 as well, depending upon the month. So what I did is, instead of creating a separate variable, 28 variables now writing in your sheet is going to take a lot of time. So that's something which I really hate. So what I did is I make a use of arrays. So arrays, trust me, a very dynamic thing, whether it's Excel or whether it's VBA. Arrays is something which can do wonders to your code. And if you don't trust me, then go and watch my arrays videos on the playlist. I will be sharing it in the end of the video, and you can see here I have uploaded almost like 7-10 videos on the arrays, on the Excel separately, on the VBA separately, and you'll really love watching those videos, and you can see that how powerful they can be, right? So what I did is I created an array. Array means a table where all these names are stored one by one, right? And it took almost like 4 or 5 lines of a code for me to develop to get these all numbers stored as a variable. Then what I did is I started comparing them one by one with 9:30 a.m. which is my target, right? So what I did is, if on every comparison, on every if the value is going to be greater than 9:30, then go to the sheet main and paste the value there. Now while pasting the value, what I thought of that, obviously you will also require these name and the employee codes to be pasted there, and they are on the column A and B, which is not actually going to change. However, your comparison will keep on changing by each column. You have to move forward, right? First you need to do the comparison here, then here, then here, then here, and so on. So this is how I was able to develop this code. Now this is just for the one row. After it is going to check all the values for the Nitin, obviously we want that it should work for the Divakar then. So that's why I have to increment the row by 1, and then again a new array is going to be run, and then that new array will hold these new values, and then again these values are going to be compared with my 9:30 a.m. timing, right? So this is what I thought, and this is how I actually started working on this code. Now let us see how we are actually going to get this output. So let me close this so that you should have a good amount of space. So that's the code, and so this is my code. Let me just press F8. So the very first thing it is going to do, it is going to ensure that in main sheet I should not have any value, because I'm going to use the 4 headers, so I'm going to clear them. You don't have anything here, so that's why you don't see anything, but if it is there, it is going to delete first, so that the code, when it is going to run, it should not actually create any problem. So we have deleted this. Now it will come back to the data sheet. Now see this, what I'm doing, I have declared this my array. Now this is the array which I have declared, and this is what exactly how you declare the array. Dim my array and then the brackets. This bracket means if you don't have anything over here, it means it can actually occupy n number of items into it, right? So let me just put the watch here, then you will come to know what I exactly am doing. So this is my array, and now right now you see that I don't see anything. This is simply saying as my array. No, so for those of you who thinks that how I get this window, actually the window is like this. But what I did is I just shrunk his width so that you can see all the arrays one by one. You'll just come to know what I am actually trying to say. So that's why I just increase the length, right? All right. Now here I have my code. Let me just put it here, and let's just shrink this little, and let's fix this like this, right? All right. Now this is the array I have created. I have given this variant data type because I'm not sure what value will it, hold, maybe string or maybe a number, whatever. So I just put it variant. Total column, integer, employee ID. I have done a lot of stuff here. As we keep on pressing F8, I keep on telling you what exactly this means. For now, you need to remember two things. I've kept my row number as 3 and column number, this variable as 3. Reason being, because my row number 3 is the first. This is a row number 3 where I have my first entry where I have to do the comparison, for this Nitin. So it starts with the 3. So that's why I'm going to keep this 3. If you have a worksheet where it is going to be 4th or 5th, then you have to change this row number accordingly. Why the column number 3? Because in my C column, I have all the values. My first value of this date for the Nitin on the third row, it is going to be my third column, which is this C column. So that's why I have kept it here as a 3, right? Now what next? I've created another variable which is called the total column. Now what it is doing is, if I press F8, this code will actually give me how many columns I have in my table, right? Because it starts from C2, which is my header. So it is going to start from here, and it will go to the last, this filled cell. Obviously my headers will never be empty. That's what I assume. If you don't have this thing, if you have some blanks here, then this code we will have to change. But I'm assuming all the headers are there, so ensure that your headers should be filled. So it will go to the last cell, the filled one, AE, and it will see that what is the column number. So ultimately this total column will give me 31. So because I have the 31 the columns here starting from C and ending at this AE, will give me actually these many columns, right? So you can count it here. I'm getting here 29, right? And if I come here, then this total column, let me just rerun this. This will give me 31, right? So why the 31? Because the column, the search starts from C2, right? So in C2, if I go, I just change this to over here. In this C2, right? If I select all these cells and I see it here as 31, right? So ideally it should give me so it is actually going to give me the last column, which is 31, right? So 31 is AE is the 31st column. So you can see here from the counting, we can do the counting. See this 6, 7, 10C, it is changing there. So the moment I reach to this late count, you can see here that this is going to be my 31 column, right? So I have already 2 headers extra, so maybe you can delete it from the 31. Maybe you can write here, -2, but that's fine. This is not going to affect my code, so I'll keep it. I'll go with this number 31. Now see what exactly is going to happen now. Once you define this dim array, my array, this is empty. This has no value. That's why it is not showing you anything. But when you have this entry total column, which is 31, you're going to pass in this to this 31. So what will happen when I press F8? This is how your my array will have all these elements. Wonderful, amazing, right? It has all the elements, positions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 till 31. Why we have created this? We are just coming to that point. We'll store all these values, all these values, first fib, second fib, third fib, timing, and then so on into these arrays, and then we'll start doing the comparison, right? And when you want to redefine your this, you want to give the dimensions to your array, this is how you write the redim, right? So that's how. Now this is prepared, and it has now capacity of absorbing 31 values. Now from where I'm gonna get these 31 values? Obviously I'll get it from the row number 3 and the column from C starting to the last column, which is my 31st column, if you remember, right? So now see this, what I'm doing. For employee ID equals to 1 to sheets data sheet range A 10,000, this is the code. This code will tell you that how many rows you have, how many rows you will have to run this. I have to run this code 28 times, right, one by one. So this is the code which is going to help you. So if I press this F8, employee ID, this is just a normal variable, you can write it whatever you want. So this will run now 1 to how many times? I can show you. We can put the watch on this and we can see that this code is going to work how many times? 28 times. 28 times, which is your last row, right? So this is the code which what it will do is it will start its search from the A10,000 cell, and then it will go to the up and it will see that what is my last filled cell. So that means this loop is now going to run 28 times, and we are going to start it from the third row from the Nitin, and slowly once the Nitin values will be compared, all the values, and the Nitin will be pasted in the main sheet, which is this sheet. We would like to run this for the row number 4, which is the Divakar, and then so on, Sachin, Rahul, till we are going to reach to this 28th row. That's why I have used this sheet data range A10,000 and XLF row, right? So that's just for your information. So I'm just keeping it here, I'm not deleting it. Now what is going to happen now? See what will happen. Now this array, we want to fill this array. How are we going to fill this? We are again going to run a loop. Now this I equals to 1, and this time it should run 31 times. You remember this total column? This total column, what it is doing? It is moving from C2 to, from here, from C2 to this, and checking that what is the column of the AE, which is my last column, right? So that's why from there I got this. Now what I will do is, this will run 31 times, and we will have all these values filled in our array, in our table, right? So you'll see this now step by step. I'm going to run this. I is going to run 31 times. So the first thing, this is the index, again a new variable which I have declared. The first position of the index is 0. So arrays always start with the 0, remember, unless you specify, unless you use the option base as 1. So what does that mean? If an array has 3 values, that means it can actually hold 4 values, because array's index starts from 0 by default. So here I have clearly mentioned here index equals to 0, and I have put in this value over here. So now the very first 0, which is this 0, what it will do, it will go to the sheet data sheet, and the row number, you remember I was telling you that the row number has to be third. So this row number third, which is this row number, and the column has to be 3. I have already assigned this value to row number and column number. From there it is actually getting this value. So column number 3 and the row number 3 would have what? Obviously this value C3, which is 930. So the moment I run this array will have this value. Now why are you getting this 0.3958333, not 930? That's one and the same thing, guys. Times are actually stored as decimals, right? Now this is entirely a different chapter. We can talk a lot on this, how the times and dates are stored, and this is what I exactly cover. I train people in my in my training. So for now you need to remember that this is going to be shown in a decimal, because Excel stored time in decimals, right? So it has nothing to do with it will not, I mean to say, create any difficulty for us when doing the comparison, right? So now once it has stored the value, now what I want to do, now I want to increment this column number, keeping the row number same. Remember, this is very important point. I will be on the third row only, but now this time I want to do the comparison for this column number D, which is my column number 4. So the combination of this row number 3, and next time when I will run this, increment this column number, next time this will this loop will run, it will have 4, which means that I will be on the third row and the fourth column, and there I'll see this 9:15. Now index should also be increased, otherwise if you're not going to increase the index, then how will it reach to this number, my array 1, right? So it was 0, I have increased it to 1. Now see what will happen. Now this will have this value. So you keep on running this loop, it will keep on running, and it will capture all the time values according to the date: 1st Feb, 2nd Feb, 3rd Feb, 4th Feb, 5th Feb, 6th Feb, 8th Feb, and so on. until it reaches to the last column, which is the 31. So that's what I'm doing here. Let me run this quickly. We have all the variables, so see how beautiful it is. You can store all the variables in just these 3-4 lines. You don't have to declare the variables separately. So once you have all the values, now your array is prepared, right? 21, 30, 31 are showing empty because as I was telling you, this is the 31 row. So obviously the first 2 columns are empty, and the last one over there also, if you remember this code, this has nothing, right? So eventually we have only the 28 values, so that's why it is storing there, right? So that's fine with me. We are okay with this empty. This is not going to create any problem. Otherwise, what you can do is you can even subtract -3 from here, right? Now once we have collected all the values, this first for the Nitin, remember we are still on the 3rd row. If you see here, you are still on the 3rd row, but the column is now 34, right? So next time what we want to do is we want to now start doing this comparison. If this is greater than 9:15 a.m., if this is greater than 9:15 a.m., if this is greater than 9:15 a.m., so your loop has to run 31 times and every value has to be checked. So that's what we are now going to do. Before we do that, we again put this index as 0, which right now is showing up 31 because it is on the last index. So we'll keep it 0, and now this time what I will do is again I'll run a different loop, and this loop will run as many times as we have the values in our array. So this means that this total column, which from where we are getting this total column, let me show you. This is from where we are getting. You remember in the beginning we have used this total column over here. We ran this loop 31 times. Again we are going to run this loop 31 times, obviously, because if I have created an array which has 31 values, I will also have to do the comparison 31 times. So that's why I have used this again 31, right? Now this time we will do the comparison. We have got in the first loop we have got all the arrays one by one. Now this time we will do the comparison, and for the comparison let's start this. So the very first index is going to be 0, so it will pick this my array index 0, which I have here you can see is 0.3958333 and so on. And if this is greater than this range M1 value, which I have written in my table, let me show you. Over here I have hidden actually these cells for you, and I'll tell you why. Just unhide it. I have converted into decimal because time value is stored as in decimal. So in order to do the comparison, what I did is whenever user will enter something here, like I have entered here 9:30 a.m., this will be first converted into text using this format text, and after that we will use the time value format. Time value format, what it does is when you write the time value format, it actually converts the time which is entered in Excel as a text into number. So that's why first of all I have to convert this into text. So that's why I use this function called text. Otherwise time and dates are always treated as number. So here when user will write here, this programming will happen. This formula will automatically change these numbers and he will not see it. So from here I have this M1 value, and so this either you write this or you write this, that's one and the same thing, right? So for your ease I have converted it into decimal because so that we can do the comparison of these array values which are again stored in decimals with this, right? So now let me quickly put here this, let me just put this in the watch. So let me just drag this here. Now you have this value, you can see here 0.395888, which is coming from M1. If my index very first value, now from where we got this value, if you remember, this is the value against Nitin for the 1st of the Feb. Remember 9:30 a.m. right? If it is going to be greater than this, which is it is not, so what will happen, it will go to the else and it will change the index by 1. Next time now the comparison will happen with the index 1. Index 1 is this, it is again now going to be compared with the same value, which is 0.3958 9:30 a.m. Again it will not see that it is greater than, so it will go to the next. Now it will go to the next position of the array, the next index, so it is going to be incremented. This time it will now 2, so this 2 my array 2 will have a now comparison again with the same value. So again it will not find the value greater than 9:30 a.m. So again it will go to the next, and similarly it keeps on moving forward. So I'm running this loop and it is going on the else mode. So let's see when we'll actually get this true. Alright, so we got it true. Now see what happens. We are on the index 8 where we have this index 8. So 0.397916 is obviously greater than this, right, which is 9:30 a.m. So now what we want to do is, I have created another variable called val. What it is doing is, it is actually going to increment +3 to this index, which is the position of this tape array. Now guys, this is very important. Why I have added 3 to it? Because of the simple reason. Now how will you identify that which date you have, where you found this date, where you found this time greater than this 9:30 a.m., right? You can see here from the index that, alright, so this is the index number 8.39. So that means that it is going to be on the 8th position of the index. So starting from here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, this is where you see that it is greater than 9:30. So you can get this value in the main sheet, in this sheet, but then how will you track that what exactly is the date, right? So you see, your index started for the array from the 0, but eventually if you see the Excel row, you are on the 3rd column, which means you will have to add 3. Now when you are on this 9:33, which is the, as you know, that the 9th position of this array, where you found that this is greater than 9:30 a.m., how will you ensure that you should write 9th of Feb? You are on the kth column. Obviously when you start your search from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? So where you have this, the position 8, the position number 8 for the array, because it starts from the 0, from here 0, then for the column it has to be +3, right? For, or you can simply do this comparison like this. For array, 9:30 is the 0 index. For the Excel, it is going to be the 3rd column. So it means we are actually moving 3 columns ahead. So in order to capture that, I prepared a variable called val, and I said that whenever it is going to find this true, which means that whenever this array on any index, on any of its position, will find the value greater than this 9:30 a.m., immediately try to capture the column and increment the 3. So here we have captured this 11, and here we will use this, right? So let's see. Now we have found the value. Now it will go to the main sheet, and from the main sheet it will go to the up, and we'll move one step down over here. Now this is very important code. So active cell value should be equals to what? It should be equals to the row number 3, where I'm still running this loop on the row number 3, remember, from the upward side, but the column has to be 1. So I will get the employee code being on the same row. Now again I'll move next column. I'll go to this using this offset function. Now again, this time my row number will again be 3, obviously, because I'm doing the comparison for the row number 3 only. And this time this column number will be changed to 2. If you have any confusion, that's what I'm talking about. This column number 2 on this row number 3, which is ultimately Nitin, right? So it will print the Nitin for you. Here we are. So it is going to print the Nitin. Now the next time again it will move one step ahead to the right, and now this is again very important. See this. This is, I'm again on the 3rd row, and this time this val will take me to that column from where this condition is found true, where we have got this, the value true, the time is greater than 9:30. So I will get this time value, right? And it will again move forward, and this time on the very same sheet, on this row number 2, I will get what? On the 11th column, what I will get? I will get the date. right? Now on the 11th column and on the second row, what do I have? Now you might be wondering that why I have not used a row number. It's quite simple, because whenever we want to extract the date should always be on the second row. It will never change, right? So being on the second row and the column which I got from here, index plus 3, I will get my value, exactly the same value against which I have this time greater than 9:15, right? So this is how I'll get this. Now next time what it will do, again it will increment the index by 1. Now it will start again doing its comparison now with the position number 9. So what do you have in the position number 9? Let me just increase this so that you can see here. Now, so on the 9th we have a 0.3909, right? So if it is greater than this, then it will go to this val, otherwise it will skip. So we keep on searching this. Now it is not finding any value greater than this. Now I have an index here 12, and in index 12 I have 0.4, which is obviously greater than this. So now this time what will happen? Now see this, where I am right now, I am on the 12th index. What does that mean? That means my index, my array, the first index started from a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm here on this O column. So for array, this is going to be, a index which is 12. But for me, it is the column O. And if I start from here, then this column would be 15th, right? So that's why it is going 3 steps ahead. So that's why I'm adding this. So now if I press F8, this time now my val is going to be 15, and this is what I will use here in these two values. So again it will go to the main sheet. You can check that I'm on the main sheet. Now from here this will run, this will move 1 step down, and now again we are still on the row number 3, and we will again have the same value. We will have the same Nitin from the same column number 2, right? And this time this val will give me what? I'm on the row number 3 and the column number 15. So which is what? Which is the column number this 15 and the row number 3. So this is the combination. The intersection point is this value, which is 936, which we found greater than 930, right? So that's the plan actually. I hope you got it by now. So I will be a little quick now. So it will print the time for me. It has printed the time. Now next time it will go again 1 step to the right. Now this is again very important step. So here I have kept the row number 2. Why? Because I'm again repeating this. My dates are on the row number 2, and they will always remain in the row number 2. So that's why on the row number 2 and the column number, this 15, whatever we got here, 15, whatever the value we have, we would like to display it. So what will happen now? We will get this active cell dot value. When I run this, we will get the date, right? So now you can run this quickly, and you can see that it is skipping wherever it is not getting the value. Now it has captured again, so it keeps on moving like this, and you can run this quickly. Let me run this quickly. Next, we can see the value here. This I has 24, it has to go 31, so 6 times more. Now it is 25th. Alright, so let me run this again. This is 29, so it is checking all the values, right? So now I think this is going to be the last time. Yeah, so the loop has run, all the testing is done. Now what else? Now what we want to do? Now we have do all the comparison for the Nitin. Now we would like to increment the row by 1, so that because Nitin is on the 3rd row, so we'll increment the row by 1, so that we can start doing again the same comparison with the another item, which is another student name, which is on the row number 4. So I'll increment this. Now again you will have to change this column back to 3, because your column search should again start from the column 3, but this time it will be on the row number 4 for the Divakar, right? So that's what I'm doing. index again is going to be 0 because right now index is 31. Now you want to create another array which will have now the values for the Divakar, so that's why I'm giving this 0. So now it will go back to my major loop, which is this loop. Now you see that the employee ID is now changed to 2. This time this loop will run for the employee ID 2. And how many times will it run? You know that this is going to run 28 times, right? So we will have this loop running 28 times for everybody, and whenever this loop runs for an individual, this will itself run 31 times. Now this is going to be very interesting. See this. Now I'm going to create another array again, and this time you see that these values are going to be changed. See this. Can you see some values are changing, right? So these values are for this. Yeah, you can see here the values are changing, right? So wherever I have the value, a different value, you can actually make it out that the values are being changed. But otherwise, for some of the values, this doesn't look changed because you have the same numbers. Like Nitin came at 9:15 on second, and Divakar also came at 9:15. So it is actually changing the value, but you're not able to see it because we have already got that 9:15 from the Nitin. So that's why you see that some are changing, some are not, but it is actually working on all the items. So I will run this code, and we are on the 25th, so let me quickly run this. So now we have all the 31 elements. So now the loop is run. Now these are the new values. These are the values for this Divakar. Again, I will create this index 0 because I have to now do comparison for all these values, one by one. So this comparison will again start happening with now the new values which are for the Divakar. Same concept, same thing. So it is not finding, so that's why it is going to the else. So let me run this quickly. Here it actually found a value which is greater than. You can check here, index 6. Index 6 has 0.4722, which is greater than this value, which is 0.39. Remember, this is the value, this M1 value, right? This is what we have got in here. I can further do this. And let me just keep it like this. And let's move this little over here, right? Okay. Now run this. So you will have the Divakar here. You will have the date. So I think the most important thing in this code is not to form the arrays and not to assign the values. That's something you can actually do. But I think the interesting and the major challenge was to find the column number for the date, these dates. And this step val equals to index plus 3. This was really very logical, right? You have to set up the relationship between the array index and this val. So that's I think was the most important point. And this is again the most important line where we have kept this second as freezed. We have kept it static. We are not changing this because all the values, all these dates are on the second row. So only thing which is changing is this val, which is the column number according to the cell where I have found these comparison true, which means a person when he came in the shift, or office, then that point in time when this is going to be found greater than 9:15 a.m. at that point in time where my cell is. So according to that cell, I have added +3 so that I should be exactly on the top of it, of the top of the of that value, which is eventually would be what? It would be the date because I have kept it here 2. So actually I'm moving with the columns, but I've kept my row number static, right? So run this. Now same thing it keeps on running and it keeps on giving it the values. So you can run this quickly. I can right here I can press F5, again F5, so it will run actually. Maybe I can, instead of this, I can put it here and I can remove it from here. This is the break code actually. So now it has run. We have got all the Divakar positions. Now again it is going to run on the another loop. So this time now this row number 4 will be incremented by again 1. So I will be on the now 5th row, and on the 5th row you know that I have Sachin, So now the comparison will happen for the Sachin, and all these numbers, all these dates, again we will rework on it and a new array will be created, right? So this is how the index, again index have to be 0. So now you see that you can pay attention to here again, and you will see that these values will be changed. Some of the values are going to be changed. A new array is now going to be created, and this time we will be on the row number 5. This is very important, right? So you see here that values are changing here. Some of the values changed. So run this again. Let me just put the break code here and let me press F5. Right, so we have the new values here. Now again these values will be compared again with the same 9:30 slot. So I can again press this, and you see that I'm getting here Sachin for all the dates. So I guess I can press now F5 quickly, and you'll see all these values coming out, right? So this is how you can generate the code, and let me just press F5 only now. Let me just remove this also, the break code. Break code is used when we want to stop the macro for a time being and we want to analyze something. So remove that, and now the code will run. So you'll have all the dates sorted out, right? So what you can do is you can put the filter here. Further you can record the macro, but I'm not recording it because it's quite easy actually. So you can record it and you can filter these things, and you can remove this total count from here. I'm doing it manually because it takes like almost not even more than 5 seconds. So here you have all the data. Once you have these numbers, just go to this format, time, and choose this. So you have all these values over here, right? Now if I'm going to change this to, let's say, 9:45, let's see if it is going to bring any difference. So far we have how many records? 385. Okay, so let's run this code again. Wow, so you got only 182. Check the time. Are we correct? Right, so this is alright. So let me quickly remove this first total date count because it looks a little shabby here. Let me delete this, and there you go. Alright, so you can see here Nitin entry is just not there. It's just coming late. This is something else. This is the total, so we can remove this. So Nitin is before 9:45. Can we check? We can check 9:30, 9:50, 9:16. I don't see any value greater than 9:45. Wonderful, awesome code, right? Awesome question as well. So this is how you can see here that depending upon this time everything is happening. Now for Divakar I have only 2 dates. We can check. I like to incorrect myself many times. I like to find the errors when I make the codes, and this is more of a debugging thing which you do, and this is very important actually. So let's make this code error free. So Divakar is alright. So these are the 2 values here. These are the 2 dates, 7th Feb and the 8th Feb, right? So remember for the array, this is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But for your Excel, in order to capture the date, this is going to the I column, right? So it means you have to add 3 to it. These 2 column, and one is because arrays start from 0, right? So that's why I added there plus 3. So that's it. I think 7th and 8th Feb we have got in, and yeah, perfect. So headers you can add. I'm sure that's something you can do. It's quite easy. So this is how you have this code, and this is how the programming goes. So it's so powerful actually, right? So what you need to remember is one thing: the code will always see that how many times it has to run the arrays, how many positions we have to give in the array. So it will go to the last position, which is this. Ensure that there should be no blank space, otherwise your code will create a problem. Second thing, when you have these employee IDs, ensure that there has to be no blank entry between this, because when the code will run, it will start its search from here and it will go to this 28. So from there it will see that this code has to run 28 times for every value, right? So these are the important things which you can take care of, and I think rest is we have already developed. And one more thing, anybody who wants to change the time, he can change the time here. So we have linked these 9:45 with this you know, with these values which obviously you will not show to the user. Sorry, it's here. These values are automatically going to be changed. As you can see here, it is 9:45 itself, which is changed because I have put the formula, and similarly here, right? So I'm sure you you have today gained a lot of things on the Excel and the VBA on this looping and the arrays, and I'm sure you will click on the like because I'm sure this, you know, this is something you actually really has, you know, increased your knowledge. So guys, that's it for now. This is, I think, the video number 123, and you can go, as I was telling you, you can go to my website. You can watch all the videos on the VBA. Similarly, you can go and watch the videos on the Excel as well. And this is my YouTube channel. You can go and check my you know, the playlist. So you'll see a lot of stuff there. And my system is hanging right now. I don't know why. Maybe it is not able to digest this macro, though it was a small macro, I would say. So these are the playlists which I have created: index, VBA, connecting Outlook from the Excel, how you can auto email the stuff. On the VLOOKUP we have the 9 videos. All the videos are very advanced level videos, so you can go through this entire playlist, and whatever you want to watch, you can watch, and you can even subscribe and be a part of this awesome learning. Similarly, you can go to my website and you can check all the tutorials. If you want to start the training, go to this training course and check out the content and let me know if you want to start the training. Otherwise, you can go to the Excel training and video tutorials. Click on the Excel video tutorials and you will see a lot of stuff on my Excel videos, right? So this is how the program goes, and I'll come up with some another stuff, and till then you take care and stay fit. Thank you so much. Bye bye.